Alright guys, show of hands. Who here likes football? Everybody, come on, guys. Come on. Thank you. Alright, what's your guys' favorite part about football? Who likes it? You guys like the big hits? Everything like that? I think that's what everyone likes.
Yes.
Well, as fun as they might be to watch, yeah, there's more than meets the eye. There's a lot more to the bumps and bruises that you get. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the concussions that many players encounter throughout games and careers. Just to let you know a little background, that football, high school, and college, and pros and everything like that, it's the second leading cause of concussions, behind only car accidents. So, and also with the news media and everything like that, it's been brought to light with you know, all the rule changes that they made specifically for concussions to try to help lessen the rates and everything like that, and also because they came to light through all the lawsuits they have. They have over 2,000 lawsuits of former players that, you know, they were told lies about the concussions, or said they were told lies, not told the whole information. They said I'm going to inform you about concussions. First, we'll start off with what a concussion is. The definition of concussion is a clinical syndrome characterized by immediate and transient alteration in the brain function, including alteration of mental status and level of consciousness resulting in trauma. So, with concussions, there was Dr. Robert C. Cantu in 1986. He came up with a system of grading. Now, while he does not have the only grading system, it is the most widely used, especially in the NFL, for the grades, and he divided them into 3 separate grades. You have your grade 1, which has no loss of consciousness, and that the post-traumatic amnesia effects are not there. Excuse me. There's no symptoms of that, and that athletes may return to play within 1 week of receiving that grade 1. With grade 2, they may lose consciousness, but it has to be less than 5 minutes, and post-traumatic amnesia can't be more than 24 hours. And then they say that as long as they're asymptomatic for more than 1 week, they can return to play. And the most severe one is the grade 3 with concussion, which is when they can lose consciousness for more than 5 minutes, or that the post-traumatic amnesia effects last more than 24 hours. Now with those, they say they must be sidelined for at least 1 month, and then must be asymptomatic for at least 1 week before returning to play. Okay, a little bit about the short-term effects. The most popular ones, obviously there's a variety of effects that go with concussions. But short terms, you have your headache, nausea, amnesia, drowsiness, and confusion. Now, just so you know, with single concussions, you know, especially the low-grade ones, usually everybody recovers, you know, after, you know, a certain amount of time. They usually, like I said, a week, but it can take longer for different people. But the real harmful effects come in when you start to get the multiple concussions, and that's when, you know, the long-term effects come in with you know, reduced cognitive faculties, you know, low memory, amnesia, and everything like that. And also, they have the degenerative brain diseases that seem to be related to the multiple concussions. The most common are Alzheimer's, ALS, which is known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and also Parkinson's disease. Now, the American Academy of Neurology, they published a study back in September 2012, right before the football season started. They took, it was 3,439 former NFL players. They played from 1959 to 1988. Now, they didn't specify if all these had concussions, but from that, they gathered data to show that 10% of them died, and from those deaths, from the death certificates, they found the cause was degenerative brain diseases, like I stated before. Now, 334, which is 10%, may not sound like that much, you know, kind of doesn't like that, but when you kind of look at the whole picture with Americans, every year with the Lou Gehrig's disease, for every 100,000 people, only 2 are diagnosed with it. And every year, 50,000 Americans are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and as of 2011, about 5.4 million suffer from Alzheimer's, which is 0.02% of Americans. So, you know, there's finding significance thinking 10% when it seems that, you know, less than, you know, 1 or 2% suffer from those syndromes. Another note with that, the average age of death was 57, and these degenerative diseases usually happen later on in life. While they can happen earlier, it just shows that the multiple concussions seem to be having an effect with that. And in November of 2008, the British Journal of Sports Medicine had the third international conference on concussions in sports. And it's a bunch of doctors meeting, and they came to a consensus that when an athlete receives a concussion, they are 3 to 6 times more likely to receive another concussion. And they say that they're most susceptible to that within 7 to 10 days after their first concussion. This is good news. Now, with detection and everything like that, especially with the NFL sideline test, if a doctor or trainer believes that the athlete suffered a concussion, you ask, what year it is, or for them to count back from 10, just to, because it affects, they become confused and amnesia and everything, because a lot of times with concussions, they won't remember the injury, they just forget it before and after, just to see how they're doing. And they also check balance, because they become disoriented and thrown off balance with everything like that. With treatments, really the only thing they have to do is rest. Everybody heals differently. Some people can heal in just a couple of days' time, even though they want to wait at least a week. Some people it takes months before the symptoms go away. But rest, obviously they don't want you to do any strenuous activity, what you did if you play football, like that. They definitely don't want you to keep doing that, activities like that. With prevention, it's just the nature of the sport in the NFL that it's just part of the game, just with the violence of the game, that you're not really going to ever be able to completely eradicate them. But obviously wearing protective equipment, helmets, shoulder pad, all that stuff is good. And they've developed new things like Kevlar helmets, which help reduce a lot of the impact, and shock absorbing mouth guards, which, like I said, help reduce the impact. Just so we know, the NFL continues to do what they do to take precautions to avoid how much they can. As I already know, one of the biggest rule changes was the kickoff. It was moved up 5 yards, which it used to be on the 30-yard line of the kickoff, but now it's at 35, which leads to a lot more touchbacks, because they found out the most concussions they were having was from the kickoff, because you have people moving as fast as the long distance, and it's a high impact. And according to the NFL Safety Forum, since they did that 2 years ago, 50% of concussions related to kickoffs have been wiped out. All right, and that's pretty much it. But I just want to leave you with one thing, especially for people who don't think one concussion is bad. Obviously, there are different severities. There's no such thing as minor concussion. It was a study done by Saunders and Harbaugh. They first quoted in 1984, an edition of the Journal of American Medical Association, that it's only been reported as a fact in 17 cases, and it's disputed in other countries because it's not showing up in with Australian football, which has the same amount of impact. That they came up with a term called second impact syndrome, which is when somebody receives the second concussion before they fully heal from the first one. And it happens where the brain swells up too much, and even if they don't become unconscious for either hit, that they die within minutes. And it's almost undetectable. You can't tell if it's going to be a person. That's why it's been taken so seriously, because of just the possibility of that. So they want to pass it along. But just to show you guys the seriousness of concussions and what the sport's trying to do to help prevent them. Thank you.